Welcome to Off Market, where every fortnight we're breaking down the Perth property market. We're covering topics like methods of sale, regulation changes, and the nitty-gritty of sales stats in different pockets of Perth. So if you've got any interest in real estate, make yourself a cup of tea. Join us for the next 20, possibly 30 minutes, depending on how long these boys talk for, and settle in. Now, luckily, this is episode 2. You guys have stuck around after episode 1.
Veterans now, mate.
No one's quit on me.
Yeah.
So welcome back, Shane and Roscoe.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Shane,
Jess.
I know you've been over in Melbourne. Good to see you made it back.
Yes. 24 hours, very, very short trip.
Very nice.
Amazing
Very
place.
nice.
Good food, good wine, mate.
Horrible weather, amazing place.
Cool.
Beautiful. And Roscoe, you've had a big week as well. Congratulations.
Slightly big. Yeah, a few things on the plate this week.
Beautiful.
But it's all good. The dust is starting to settle. But,
Dust is settling. For those who
absolutely.
don't know, congratulations you, Paz Carmel, on the launch of Edison McGrath.
Yeah, no, it's been, the response has been fantastic. So I'm really thrilled, actually.
Beautiful.
Great.
Very
Take
exciting.
it easy on my letterbox now because I've got
Yeah.
the few.
He's in a marketplace. We're going to prospect the hell out of this Shane.
Shane's like, no mail, no junk mail. All right,
Except
Except Edison McGrath, yeah. Extra junk mail.
guys, don't forget, we want to hear from you. So if you're watching this on Facebook, we want to see your comments. We want to know what you're thinking. Make sure you jump on board and let us know. Give us all your feedback. So straight into our first segment.
Let's go.
Under the hammer.
Under the hammer.
This is where we're going to be dissecting the sales figures and letting you know what's going on in the market.
Yeah.
Roscoe, this is your area.
Auctions.
I'm throwing to you.
Auctions. Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's poetic, and we've got to get more of a stimulus going in Perth. Jess, a couple of fantastic results over the last few weeks with auctions, which I think are fair to share with everybody. One of them was a 2-bedroom apartment in Cottesloe, just down the road from the Blue Duck and the Northcott Surf Club. Magnificent A-reserve seating as far as views go, right at the front. 1980s built apartment, full house, lots of people. People saw it on the internet in London, flew from London to be here for the auction. Also had some local bidders, sold under the hammer with a full house of $2,535,000.
Two bedroom, how many square metres?
I don't know, but it's probably the actual, it had double garage and underneath. Then you come up to the apartment, probably 120 square metres, maybe 130.
There's a lot stronger street appeal, and I saw the sign. It's quite a big sign there too.
Yeah, it's you couldn't miss it. Simon McGrath, who's marketing the property, it's end to end. Simon McGrath. He was like a big parachute, but he did a great job
He's hit
marketing
his
it.
straps again, Simon. I've seen a lot of listings.
Yeah, no, he's got a lot of oxygen going on at the moment, so he's
beautiful.
off. So that was a fantastic role. Once again, really a strong moment of confidence for the marketplace. And secondly, another auction we had on Saturday for the Real Coastal guys, that was in Karrinyup. It was a probably 1980s built home, maybe even 70s originally. They had 120-something groups through it over the marketing campaign, 11 registered bidders on the day. And it was just a classic auction where it went to market value and then went into the whole thing about a bit of ego, a bit of a face-off thing, and then it went into the fear of loss when it was on the market. And we got down to $1,000 and $500 bids because people were way beyond what they wanted to pay for it, but it was about fear of loss. So really good examples how auctions are, and also it's a great pulse check of the market at the moment. There's strong interest, and I look at it. Sorry, Jess, but if you look at both auctions, like you look at the one in Karrinyup, there was probably about $12 million there to be spent that day. If you look at the number of registered bidders, that let's say they're all at had $1 million to spend. There's $12 million on that front lawn, and equally at Cottesloe, there was 3 bidders, and let's say they're all at that same level. There was $7.5 million. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So there's lots of strength in that.
Well, so that's kind of green shoots, I guess, but all the news I'm still reading from Rewa and everywhere is market's down, it's not improving, although it's improved slightly this week.
I think intent has definitely changed.
Yeah.
So people are coming in and saying, look, I know it's a good time. No one's coming in really at the moment as buyers and saying, I think it's got a bit of pain to go.
Right.
I think as agents we probably do because we're seeing those figures. But we've spoken about this. There's certain ends of the market. So I sold a couple that went first 4 or 5 days in a tough market. It's a really tough. Well, it's priced right. The buyers are there.
Yeah.
There's certain areas across Perth that I don't think it could get hotter.
Yeah.
So
okay.
just to say that there's still pain, it's very, very much, I guess, out the mortgage belt areas. There's still a bit of pain potentially with a lot of mortgagee sales filtering through.
Yeah.
But you go to the closer you get to the city, the tighter it is.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Which Shane comes. Sorry, Jess. It comes into that. We've had that conversation before, which is very frustrating from the media and sort of bodies that talk about the Perth market.
Yeah.
The Perth market's made up of 20, 30 different markets.
Yeah.
And I think they've got to change their language,
Yeah.
Jess. They've got to start talking about sort of, different segments of the market, north, south, east, west, or talk by postcodes or whatever, to bundle everything to the
type
same.
of home.
Yeah.
Like to say that Federation homes are a certain area compared to apartments.
Yeah.
It's not. They're completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Talk to me about vacancy rates, because that's something that we've heard a little bit about
Yeah.
lately, and what that says about the direction we're heading,
Yeah,
I
it's-
guess, and stock levels as well.
Yeah, like the whole thing around vacancy rates, why there's such a strong indicator of where the economy recovery is at and so forth. If you look at the classic economic clock, it says one of the first signs of recovery is vacancy rates, because what happens is, if you look at the clock, we're at about 7 o'clock at the moment. Because we're seeing vacancy rates well and truly that's after 6, Jess, and before 8. Just in case.
We'll put a graphic up.
Yeah, good on you, Jess. Should we go to the 24-hour clock? Would that make it easier? 1900 hours.
I
there
got
you go.
that.
That was
Thank
pretty tricky. We're seeing sort of vacancy rates sub 2%. We're seeing lots and lots of multiple applications on properties. We're seeing rent increases. And Shane and I were talking before, and he's seeing all of a sudden.
like the first home buyers for the first time since 2014, they're actually saying, you know what, it'd probably be cheaper for me to rent than buy. Now, last time we had that was 2014. Rents went through the roof, stock levels got low, and we're about that level now. We're back to around 13,500, give or take. We're up to 19,000 in tougher times. If you look at average days on market, it's pure and simply supply and demand. When we were in the heated market back in 2007, we got down to 4,000 properties on the market.
Yeah.
So it's actually a pretty healthy level. We're just hamstrung a bit from that negative equity situation. People still not what they paid, but I do believe as that creeps up, people start to buy. People move back from over east, and those first home buyers go, I may as well purchase. That bit of pressure, that is what we need, and that's the stimulus for growth.
Yeah.
That is happening, no
Yeah.
question.
And you see, and a lot of that's also driven by, like, there's an interesting article in the Fin Review the other day about how many people are cashing up in Sydney and moving across to places like Perth and so
Incredible,
forth.
yeah.
And we see it at auctions a lot. How many people are buying from all sorts of, like Melbourne and Sydney in particular. In Tasmania, we're getting quite a lot, and a lot of those that I've certainly engaged with have been mining execs, or either renting first up and they're taking the higher end properties, but they're moving across here to rent for maybe 12, 18 months, and then they want to buy.
Yeah.
So we're seeing that migration really starting to bite at the moment.
I saw an interesting
Beautiful.
thing recently also, Jess. I looked at all my inquiries that are coming through Domain, and almost it was like a 2-to-1 ratio from eastern states investors.
Yeah.
2-to-1 ratio from actual over east. Obviously, realestate.com being probably more powerful in WA, that's certainly not the case.
Yes.
But a lot of over east buyers are going, you know what, 8Ks from the city, 12Ks from the city, 300 grand, 450. You just
It's
don't
an-
hear that
it's
over
a-
there.
it's an
You know,
interesting
it's
prospect,
really,
yeah.
really
Yeah.
interesting.
But
So-
Beautiful.
Shane, come back to auctions for a moment.
I'm winding you up. I'm winding you up.
Okay, hang on. Just unwind for a second. But if you look at auctions once again, is that over the last probably 6 or 8 weeks, probably every second auction we've had a telephone bidder, a registered telephone
Yep.
bidder from over east somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which is also another. You look at all these little green shoots everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it's great.
we've had green shoots for a while, but with intent, good things happen,
They're turning
and there is
into
definitely
flowers.
happening there.
Yeah, yeah.
I believe anyway.
No,
Beautiful.
100%.
Beautiful.
We're the eternal optimists. though.
We're positive.
It's
We're
all
positive.
moving.
Beautiful. All right. That was 10 minutes, but that's fine.
That's good.
Well done.
Good.
Good, interesting chat. Next up, we have the real press. Now, the boys were obviously enjoying the Melbourne Cup a little bit this week, so weren't reading the papers. However, luckily
form
I
guide.
was. They were reading the form guide. Did you win any money?
No.
No. They sent the helicopter out. They're still looking for my horse.
No, it's no
The
good.
Uber
It's no
helicopters
good.
circling in
Yeah.
Flemington.
Yeah.
I saw a little article that struck my interest on Airbnb. It's a little bit of a convoluted way that my thought process was, but there's some regulation happening in the US based on Airbnbs that are being rented out to bad actors, I guess, where deaths have been happening or the properties that are being rented out are not being utilised in the way that they should be. And it got me thinking about online reviews and the trust that people place in online reviews.
Yeah.
And obviously that's a big thing for real estate agents. So I guess I wanted to kind of cover that off with you guys. especially Shane, with you're number one on Rate My Agent for Australia. We've got Tash here.
No, WA. I will take
Sorry,
Australia.
sorry.
Not quite.
I was going the world.
Take it.
I was going the world.
No.
Let's go there.
We've got Tash, who's our guest, coming on later, but she's also very, very strong on Rate My Agent. I guess I wanted to know about the consumer's use of Rate My Agent.
So it's an interesting question, and a lot of people, I think, with reviews, that sometimes because of how it has been used previously, in all businesses, people sometimes think, oh, that can't be right. But the verification process on selling a property, you have to have transacted. So I can't call mum and go, Mum, look, I need a few good words on 27 Smith Street. You just can't do that. So I think verification is really, really important, and that's why those trusted portals like, I guess, Rate My Agent, realestate.com, probably to a lesser degree. I think there's still a bit of apprehension. It's probably not as easy as Rate My Agent. So without a doubt, reading those, you can pretty clearly see, I guess, the experience someone had. But what I think for me, reviews are really important is if I've got, for example, a deceased estate coming up or someone going to a retirement home, rather than just sending them my first home buyer feedback, actually sending people an email to go, look, here's my last 7 people in your scenario. This is how they felt the process was. It's a pretty precious time, an important time and stressful time to actually see people have been through this process and got through and it was okay. I think creates a feeling you're dealing with a human, not just an agent, because again, the perception of agents sometimes isn't great. But I've found that's been really powerful for me.
So it's like a secondary form of proof.
Yeah, look, just to say, look, guys, I've got 10 properties I've sold in your situation. Have a read of these before I come and see you. If they haven't already seen that, it is pretty hard. Any decent agent in Australia, a dominant agent, I just can't see why in the world, one, they'd need to do that. I think maybe a sort of dodgy brothers, maybe, one here and there. But it's not going to happen, and they don't need to. A good agent doesn't need to. You go to the sold section, you see them everywhere. You drive in the area, you see them everywhere. So I think it's probably a bit of maybe the weaker agent or the naysayers probably having a crack at it in that regard.
Roscoe, you've obviously just bought a business, and I know on the social, like the Facebook pages that we manage at Crib, a lot of if clients are getting bad reviews, a lot of the time it's the PMs, not the reps, and we know property management. It's coming from the tenant, and it might not be at any fault of the PM, but tenants can be difficult. So, or they don't understand the rules by which the property manager has to kind of operate. Exactly. How do you look at that as a business owner, and what's your message?
Part of it actually it comes back to sort of the beginning, really, Jess, is making sure and sort of. Shane just mentioned about being disgruntled. I think part of the process is making sure up front when the tenant moves in, there's really, really good communication of what's expected, and sort of how the property needs to be lived in and how it needs to be left when they leave, and have absolute clarity. There's an old saying, begin how you want to finish. I don't believe that's as good as it could be. And secondly, down the track is I was actually having a conversation with a property manager yesterday about this. It's when there is an issue is. Let's say, for example, there's a stain on a carpet or something when they leave. It's how is that being communicated that it needs to be fixed. And one thing that I've found is, and asking lots of questions in this space, too much has been done via email. Everybody becomes keyboard warriors, and they become very brave in with a keyboard. And in particular, when you get a heated email, the worst thing in the world to do is to reply to that email. Pick up the telephone. Because when you pick up the telephone, 9 times out of 10, it'll diffuse the anger and you'll solve the issue. Because trying to communicate via, being a keyboard warrior just adds fuel to the fire. So I think if we communicate better through the process, it'll actually solve it. But then when there is a review, it's saying, okay, how do we deal with this? And there's only one way to deal with it is to really just be honest. Make sure it's replied to for a start. And secondly, just be honest about it.
I think the reply to a criticism says so much about the business.
100%.
So I think when I read something and I can see that, I can sort of read between the lines, whether it be a restaurant, you go, I can see where they might have picked that vibe up. The response is so powerful. I had a situation where I got a unbelievable result, sold in a week, the home across the road took another 6 months to sell, and something happened to that particular client that was beyond my control, 0 star. I wrote back and said, look, you got everything you wanted. Everything was great until these things happened. So sometimes you just have to grin and bear it to a degree. But if you're any logical person reading the response to something, the way you handle it will say more about your company than saying, you don't know what you're talking about, that's completely incorrect, you didn't do this. The response is really, really powerful.
And also, Shane, I think to back that up, mate, is, if you looked at reviews of being a real estate agency or a restaurant or anything, if they were all like 5 or 4 star, you'd probably actually question it. Because life is such that we don't live in this perfect bubble, and things happen, be it out of our control. Sometimes you might just drop the ball, and it happens, and people react to it. So, the fact that it's a bit messed up or a bit ruffled, to me, actually adds credibility to it. But it's the response is what really seals it.
That's one thing I hear, again, a lot of agents or people talking about rate my agent, and they go, oh, yeah, but they only send it to the good clients. I send every review, every client, even if I know potentially there was something like the final inspection didn't go well, whatever it may be, because that's reality.
Yeah.
And again, the response to that is real.
You are possibly not, like, not everyone would do that.
She wants to say you're not normal.
No, definitely not normal.
You're avoiding
What I'm trying to say is from the consumer, my final question is, from the consumer's point of view, how do they know the you who sends it to everyone versus dodgy brothers who only sends it to the good ones?
Well, I think if you look at how many transactions take place compared to how many good reviews, you're going to get a pretty good idea. But again, like some of the agents that, if you're selling 10 properties a year, if you're only really creating 10 opportunities to wow someone, I think a true indication, if you can find the agent, and a lot of agents that aren't as busy, they sometimes get the criticism, oh, they got too many stock, they sell too many. To actually see them perform at a certain level and have a certain level of satisfaction. If I sold 2 homes a year, it'd be pretty easy to keep people happy. Sold 90 homes a year or 70 homes, whatever it may be, and keep people happy, you've got a proven operator that's providing good service. And to young agents who maybe don't have runs on the board, what better opportunity to not just sell the home, follow up right to the end, and you'll get a good review. And it's keeping agents honest, because you're actually having to service them from the time you meet them to the actual whole thing. You can't just done and dusted, which is, I think, so often people have been treated like an ATM. Sold the home, where's the keys, move on. It's so important to service from the start to finish. It's an experience, and so often it's just forgotten about. You've gone and paid $1 million for a property, and then they don't hear from you another 2 years, and wonder why people...
They're not going to get that next listing anymore.
It's just crazy.
So, moral of the story is it's one part of the, of the referencing that you do before you bring someone on to sell your most important asset, essentially.
I think it's pretty hard to bullshit now. A proven operator, there's just no way you're going to find not one. If you're a real estate agent, you haven't got 90 friends to send reviews to. But it's pretty hard to do.
You've got time to have even 9.
Beautiful. All right, guys, next segment. This is the big one. This is exciting.
You ready?
We're introducing our first ever guest to Off Market. I'm very excited to welcome Tash Wellburn. Please come on down onto the catwalk. Tash is not your typical agent. I think it's fair to say. Among the industry, she's known for her unorthodox work method. I only say that Tash does not work from a laptop and she does not work from an office. She works from her phone. Her motto is be real, don't be a dick. And she is the #1 agent in East Vic Park. So she's our area expert this week, guys. We're going to learn all about East Vic Park.
Great area.
Welcome, Tash. Welcome, Tash.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, you said before you've lived in East Vic Park for 16
years.
16 years?
Yeah.
You obviously sell there. You know it inside out. Our hood highlight is where you're going to tell us all about this suburb. So, to start off with, tell us about the area.
It's a fabulous area, obviously. No, but look, full of really good demographics. So there's a really eclectic, you've got the young hippies right up to it's not snobs, so that's what I like about the area. It's just decent, down-to-earth people. You can buy a $200,000 unit, you can buy a $1.5 million character home in the area, so no, it's a really good spot.
Do you think there's any comparable, what would be the comparable suburb?
A lot of people looking in East Vic Park go Bayswater. Bassendean and Bayswater.
So it's kind of city fringe.
So it's that. Not so much Mount Lawley or anything. So the houses are very Mount Lawley leadable, but we find more looking Bayswater, Bassendean, Kensington around there.
So what's hot in East Vic Park?
Character homes. So you can have the beat up, falling down, weatherboard character home, and you'll get hundreds of people. You can have a brand new house, and I'll get hardly any. Everyone wants the ones that cost the most to fix up. They, you know, they think, oh, Instagram ready homes. That's what they want.
Yeah,
so if I've got a character home with, even if I can't sell a home, I say to my sellers, whack some weatherboard on it, pull up the carpets. I say, but that's what people want. They really do.
You were on Selling Houses Australia last year, the year before.
Yeah, I think so. A couple of years now. Yeah.
With a character that someone was struggling to fix up. Do you find are there a few of those around that people kind of take it on? And
but the young people come in, you wonder, and they go, I can't wait to have kids. I think you're never going to have kids because you're not going to be able to afford it because they cost a fortune to renovate. So I keep them in my file because I know they'll be ringing going, Tash, we can't afford our house. But they all just fall in love with the shit boxes, excuse my French, but they really do. And then obviously the ones that are fully renovated and gorgeous, well, you know, they go, 430 square metre block, a 3x2 character and get 920,000.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, on the street.
Has there been a shift, I think, across Perth? I might have sold one last week. A 600 square metre block, which went for, it's actually 3. But
only 3?
One went literally, the one on the corner, 600 square metre block. And I think sometimes people, they're liking the half block.
Yes.
Like these big full blocks, as well as trying to maintain a big home. Is it a trend that they're the popular one over the full traditional block?
People don't want the big, and obviously unless you can subdivide it, and then but even then, you've got to get people that want to subdivide it. But people are wanting smaller, low maintenance. Obviously, where we live, there's coffee shops and parks. So people, South Perth Foreshore.
Do you find an area like East Vic Park, Tash, is got a term I use all the time is walkability.
Yes.
Do you find the walkability factor is massive? Because you can
just
go
walk,
home on the weekend, park your car, potentially not.
Well, you don't. You can walk anywhere. I mean, from my house, I can walk, 4 kilometres, I'm straight at the foreshore. And I'm not in the hub of East Vic Park, so I'm out. My daughter can walk to Curtin University in 15 minutes.
Wow, yes.
So even the good school like Penrose, I can drive there in 2 minutes to drop my kids off. So it's just everywhere. I always say, even to arrive here today, it was like 20 minutes. So you're close to everything. I mean, not walkable, obviously, but you are close to everything. So go out to you can go. I think one seller sold me, one buyer bought a house because he said there was 9 pubs within walking distance. Obviously he had a problem, but hey, whatever did it,
whatever works.
He actually said, I'm buying this house because I've realised there's 9 pubs within walking distance.
He likes Parmigiana.
Or
beers, because he wants to walk. So
Has Optus Stadium come into it at all?
Yeah, look, it has. I think just again, obviously being a Vic Park local, it's just so great. There's something on, or you can park your car there and then walk there and then drive home. The stadium and the Eagles. I sold to quite a few Eagles players last year. Not that I knew who they were. And I actually met a few, and like I said, I don't really follow the footy, but a few Perth football players last week were looking around. So we're finding, and they're sort of young and young families, so they want that sort of hub of activity. And the ones that bought last year, they just wanted to be close because I didn't realise they spend so much time training, but they train a lot. And then to go home for lunch breaks and things like that to see their family.
Perfect.
So how the sales results looking how's the last kind of quarter, 6 months?
It's exactly what Shane says. It's definitely picking up. We don't get massive home opens. If you have 8 people, 10 people through a home open, it's a really good home open. That's probably huge for you. But that's even like sellers go, that's not that many. I say that's because we're getting quality, so quality over quantity. So those 8 people actually looking for a house. Character homes, you're getting multiple offers. I usually sell them within a week or 2. Obviously other properties, I think my average days on market is about, but obviously it takes into account the ones that can't, about 50 days. I think the average day in East Park's about 70-something days, 73 days.
Yeah.
So Tash, if we get more auctions going over there, we'll find that we can probably halve those days on market.
I love auctions. I actually love them. I actually think the work, the process, it's just trying to convince a seller to go with it. And it doesn't matter how much you sell it to them.
Especially if they've seen a poor one.
They do. And they see one and they say, they don't really work. And I go, well, they do. The process works. You just think just because it doesn't go under the hammer, but all my auctions...
Well, we spoke last week about clearance rate. It's not about under.
It's not under, but they just... And then they go...
Ross agreed to do this show is to educate people about
it. Mate, I'm beating that drum.
Well, it just makes sense. It's a really... It's a no-brainer. But then they go, but it's going to cost me a lot more. And it doesn't. It won't cost them, a bit more for the auctioneer, but that's going to get you the best result probably, or quickest result. Because another month on market, there's another month's of mortgage repayments and things like that.
So predictions for the next 12 months, do you want to throw any out there?
Look, I think we're going to be pretty stable. I think we're not it's not going to get any worse, in my opinion. We're definitely on the up. Buyers are actually buying. There's a bit more confidence, but I don't think we're going to sky. I think we're just going to, slow along. Stock levels are down, which is good, and they're down in my area. It's really hard to get, good homes because people are starting to stay in my area. Going, why? Or they can't upgrade to anything because they can't find anything.
There's a lot of, I think in particular areas like that, there's a lot of landlocking where they want to move, but from what they paid, they can't. So they need that injection to get that kicking because they want to.
Yeah, they want to. There's people want to move, but I've got people that want to move, but they can't find what they want to move to, and it's because there isn't. So the stock, and I think stock levels, like this was my quietest spring because usually you have so many listings. I'm actually I've actually listed more now than I did, coming into the end of spring than spring. It was crazy.
Since it's come late.
Yeah.
It really has, and I think we'll say down to 13,500. You guys would obviously know, doing all the marketing, it seems to, and speaking of the videographers, it's come really, really late.
Which is really unusual. Like, I listed a couple last night. I thought, oh my God, we're already middle of November, and I got people going, oh, I'm ready in 2 weeks. I'm like, that's the beginning of December.
Well, you think about it, there's about probably a week or so left.
Well, that's
really,
what I'm telling my that's what I'm telling my clients. But it
out.
seems like we'll list at the beginning of December. I'm like, oh, well, I go away in January, so it's not really going to work. But anyway,
no rest for the wicked,
Japan,
Tash. No rest for the wicked.
Would you say in an area like that, like when I've sold properties through those sort of, I guess, areas that have following, you can almost tell from a phone call of a buyer inquiry how genuine it is because they know what they want and they're not waiting for home opens. The intent is so strong because they've seen other ones and they've probably missed out on a couple.
Yeah, okay.
Do you find that?
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially, like I said, the character homes and all that. You can pretty well put it online. People go, but I want to look at it right away. And they want to get in. The urgency's there. And so no, definitely.
Beautiful. Awesome. All right, Tash, we know you're an expert now, but we want to know a little bit more about you. Roscoe?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Put my glasses on.
It's
Tash,
8 questions with Ross.
Straight off the bat. Here we go. You ready?
Okay.
Okay, these are really deep and meaningful questions, Tash, but we got
Right. I share
We want a
everything.
short answer. Last week the boys took us on a tour of the Western
Well, there's no
Suburbs.
short
we just showed our colour and expertise,
pass
didn't we?
and we'll come back.
Okay. We passed, if I have to think
Okay,
about
all right.
it,
So,
yeah.
Tash, here we go. First question. Best meal in Perth?
Well, I live in Eastwick Park, so
No,
I
of
can't.
course.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I mean the Strip. I mean, it depends what you want to eat.
What is the best?
The best
I'll
place.
come. I don't know, and I actually don't like going to restaurants, to be honest, because
What's your Uber Eats go-to?
I don't do Uber Eats. The kids
Coffee?
do. I
Tash
don't drink
cooks.
coffee and I don't
So,
drink
okay,
alcohol.
so
I
it's-
know I'm a real freak.
So it's the strip in Eastwick Park.
Yeah, the strip in Eastwick
Okay,
Park.
all
Your
right.
first
Okay.
segment's
Yeah.
going well, Ross.
Right, yeah, this is working well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
crap question. Next
So
one.
in business, often our greatest learnings come from the mistakes we've made.
Yeah.
So out of your career
Okay,
or
career.
life.
Oh, we won't do the life ones because that's probably it's not R-rated here.
Okay,
so
no.
we'll do
So
the
what
P.
would you consider to be your biggest stuff up that you've learnt from?
Well, it was a property sale. We bought a block of land in Broome for $70,000, close to live in Broome. Sold it for $130,000, thought we were pretty special. And then 2 years later, it was worth $500,000. So that was probably, and now I don't sell my properties, I keep them because that really hurt to think, that's a big, it's a loss we never had, but it's horrible to see that block of land go. I mean, now it's dived, but if we'd,
Back
if we'd
then.
500, hello.
No, had some experience. I think we've all got those stories.
I
If you've
know.
had a go, you've got some stories around that.
I was going to say at 48, I've got a few stories.
Yeah. We've all got the battle scars.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Next one. 3 things you wouldn't leave home without.
Well, your phone.
Phone, number one.
Handbag, and water, a bottle of water. I just,
Well, no coffee with you.
No coffee.
No
with
coffee?
me. Well, don't give me caffeine because it's not fun.
Okay.
No, but I literally, water, handbag, and phone.
Fantastic.
Earpods?
Okay.
Do you use earpods?
No.
Just phone?
Yeah.
Do you-
That's fine.
I get caught a bit.
How's your license? How's your demerit point?
I don't think I've got any.
Yeah, okay,
I
good,
don't know
okay.
if you've I know my other half was saying to me the other day, Tash, you're going to have to hire a driver soon if you keep getting...
So she doesn't need a PA, but she needs a driver.
I need a driver, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Your worst habit.
Well, it depends who you asked. My husband would be, or my partner, he would say ruining phone chargers because I'm always breaking phone chargers. My 15-year-old daughter would say breathing. I don't know. I have to come. I don't know. Isn't it? It's a hard one to say. I've probably got hundreds of them, but I don't know. I'm a bit of a hypochondriac. So I don't get headaches, I get brain tumours. I don't get a bruise, I get leukemia.
Okay,
so
good.
that's probably my worst
Yeah,
habit.
okay. No, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, who's been the biggest we've all had influences in our life. Who's had the biggest influence in your life that's helped shape who you are?
Well, it's a hard one. Like, okay, I'm going to say my mum because she'd kill me if I didn't. She's
Hi,
and to
Mum.
be honest, yeah, hi mum. Probably because I've done a lot of dumb shit and she still loves me. And she's never not. She's always told me just to be me. You know,
Yeah.
she said don't try and fit a mould, which
Yeah.
I really haven't.
Yeah.
Influencer. Probably my last couple of bosses because they told me I couldn't do it. Like my
Okay.
first boss said, you won't make it, but I'll give you a job.
Yeah, yeah.
Another boss said, as soon as you leave this company, there'll be no more Tash Wellburn. So they're sort of influences. Wankers have given me influence. I know that sounds, but it's
Yeah.
actually made me go, you know what?
I've had that, so, yeah.
Well, it either motivates people or
Yeah.
it kills them.
Yeah,
You-
see,
you
and I'm a real,
it's polarising.
Yeah, I'm kind of, spite motivates me.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if that's
Yeah, I think Shane will work that out in the last 10 minutes. Okay. I think I know the question, the answer to this. When you're not at work, where will we find you?
in the cemetery. I'll be dead.
Okay, I thought that. I was going to say when you're not at work,
I
you're
was
at
expecting
work.
that one. I thought Bali. but-
Yeah, well, no, well, even when you're on holidays, you'd know, you're always, I'm never not working.
No,
and
you're
it's
always
not
on.
because I think, oh, God, I actually really love it.
Yeah.
But I'm 24/7.
Well, I guess the old saying is, if you love what you do, if your
never
passion is your
work.
work,
Yeah.
then you never have a day
Make
of work.
passion your paycheck.
Yeah.
Sort of
Yeah,
thing.
you
100%,
never have a day of work.
No.
Fantastic. Okay. What's your most precious belonging?
Well, I was going to say my children, but after yesterday, you can't really belong. Well, they should belong to me. 'cause
I
I
feel
gave
like
birth
children
to
do.
them.
Debatable.
Well, they do. My vagina gave birth to those children, so they belong to me.
Okay.
So yeah.
We are so tame.
I said to get Tash on. This is brilliant.
This is going
Yeah,
well.
this is going well. So so they do belong to me. This ring actually, it's my grandmother's. It was a full circle, but my mum had it cut. So my sister, my mum, and I have always got one.
Oh,
So that's my
beautiful.
grandmother. So that's probably precious if you want to go.
That's
It's like
a
when
good
people
one.
ask what's your why, it was like people go, your kids. Well, of course it's like what is your why?
Kids,
Why is to
the
be
kids are the
spiteful and
gift
get
that keep on
back.
taking, I work out. Okay, last one.
Oh,
So this is
okay,
the last
yeah.
question. What is the most overused saying that just does your head in?
Oh, it does my head in.
Yeah.
Would you know what she uses? Or
Yeah.
what
What
she
she says
uses?
or-
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
what
Or
you
no,
know.
or anybody else uses. What's the one saying? Oh my God.
I didn't even know the word. In reality shows, the journey, they always say.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Corey?
like MasterChef and
Yeah,
stuff.
they go, it's been the best journey. That always shits me. I don't watch many reality shows because of that. That
Yeah,
shits
yeah.
me. But they always go, my journey. I've been on my journey. So,
my food journey.
Yeah, but mine is,
Yeah.
I always put, you can put lipstick on a pig and it's still a pig. I like that. But I like that saying. And I use that a lot. And keep it real and don't be a dick. That's
Yeah,
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 my
yeah.
two
I think I-
catchphrases. Yeah, so.
I think we got the sense you're real.
I didn't do
exactly
the
right.
Sharon Stone
You
anyway.
didn't.
So.
We've still got time.
Oh, don't tempt her.
No, I've got underwear on.
All
mine,
right,
it's
well,
fine.
our player of the week is the Sharon Stone, so there we go.
Yeah, that worked well.
No, we're going on to excellent questions, Roscoe. Well done.
Thank
Great
you.
work.
Thank you.
Final section is play of the week time. So I'm gonna kick off. I don't want to toot your horn too much, Roscoe. We've already mentioned this, but we will give you a shout out on the
Oh,
old.
here we go. Look at that for a double pay. What a glamorous
How's that
looking
for a
mob of
spread?
Yeah.
Chris, you got a big zoom in of that one.
Bit of free ad. You got to pump it out there.
You got to pump. I got to pay this guy somehow. He's not
yeah.
getting paid in cash. I tell you right now.
yeah.
Well done, mate.
Thank
well
you.
done.
Play of the
Beautiful.
week.
Loving
Yeah,
the
good.
brands, loving it. Now, we were talking about the Versace home as well off camera.
Yeah, they're it's gone for
The
300
one-
over.
Is that?
Well, 900,000 was the value, according to the agent. The enhancements, the Versace, everything, which the shower that can't be used, is talking about
Did you
1.2.
see that online? We'll put it up.
I must
but,
have
Put it
looked.
in.
Well, whereabouts is it?
it's in Western suburbs,
Oh, okay,
Sydney.
yeah.
But the guy has just gone insane on the Versace additions to his house. He's got a.
not very big
We'll show it.
market.
We'll show it. There's no point me
Yeah.
describing it. We will show it.
So,
Play of the week.
Play
You
of the
have one?
week. No.
No play of the week
No.
for you this week. Play of the week, Tash. You're my play of the week every week
Oh,
on
right.
Instagram and Facebook.
My memes, you know.
Yeah, memes.
I'm still employed.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. And my final play of the week, I wanted to give a shout out to DJ, David James, sales coach, because he just brightens my day every day with his little stories and his little.
He's a legend.
He's a legend, isn't he?
DJ's always at his peak. He's
Isn't
always
he?
at his peak.
If you don't follow him and you just want to smile in the morning, jump on his Instagram account. It's brilliant. All right, that's it.
Cool.
That
Done.
is it.
Thank you.
well done.
If you are watching us
Thanks
for the
for
second
coming in.
time,
Thanks, Tash.
Anytime, not. No.
thank you for tuning in. If it's your first time, please come back and let us know how we went. We want to thank the guys at Domain Hire and Property Styling
Thanks, guys.
for this beautiful set. We've got a different set this week and I love it. It's amazing. We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your hood highlight. Nominate your hood or nominate an agent. Nominate your player of the week because Ross we're struggling, obviously. And we look forward to coming back. Same time, same place in a fortnight.
We'll be here.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Tash.
Absolute
Thanks,
pleasure.
guys.
Beautiful.
Bye.
We're done.
Cool. Is that your thing? That's right. That's what we like, mate.